Test 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Back to another episode of the Indie Founder Podcast. It's been a while, and I guess all of you that still listen, that are still there, might be wondering, what the fuck happened to Tiago? Did he finally give up and got a job? Did he die? Yeah. I mean, I did not die, obviously, thankfully. But yeah, entrepreneurship is something, it was just a phase for me. I realized that my skills were better served when working for others. So I found, no, I'm joking. Not at all. I didn't find a job. I'm still working in my projects together with my co-founder, João. But a lot has happened. A lot has changed. And the reason why I haven't shared anything here in a while is because I've been busy. And I guess lacking a bit the will to share. But a lot of times I thought about you. I thought about this podcast and a lot of things that I have to share. And now we have the old problem of I have too much to say. And I don't know if I should say everything at once, but maybe it's best if I do that, because who knows when will be my next update. So let's start. Because we have a lot to cover. I hope you have been coding and developing and building amazing software and SaaS and products, whatever you're building. I hope you have been following your entrepreneurial passion. I sure have been doing the same. But things have changed. Things have changed in my life. Things have changed also in regards to technology. So I want to share today in this episode how we have completely reimagined our company to be AI first, and how we have finally demystified a lot of the myths and fairy tales we have been told while growing up as an entrepreneur. These unicorn fairy tales that I believe really misguide us. And last but not least, I want to share one thing that has completely changed the way Podsqueeze was growing. There was one little thing that made a huge dent, and I'm excited to share that with you. So let's start from the beginning in another episode of the Indie Founder Podcast. And as you can probably see, I'm walking. Not see, I guess, here. I'm walking. I like to walk and talk. So if you hear some street noises, hopefully not, because I'll pass this by our own audio enhancer. But if you do, or you listen that in my voice, you hear that I'm catching my breath, you know why. Okay. So growing up, being an entrepreneur, being a great entrepreneur, was about changing the world. Was about building something that touches every one of you, of us, that kind of changes the path of mankind somehow. It was something grandiose, was something amazing, something coming from the fairy tales. And we were shown those amazing stories. How internet was built, how Linus Torrent built OS that is used by millions, how startups that were built in garages changed the way we interact with the personal computer in case of Apple, how a social network evolved to connect us all, at least that was the initial intent, I guess, by our good friend Zuckerberg, and how now AI has completely changed the way we work and think. It's the first API to a brain. So we were taught that these were the things we should aspire to be. We should change the world with these amazing startups, have thousands of people working with us, and changing the world. So I thought that was the goal. Myself, of course, in my little bubble here in Portugal, which I assume is very different than your bubble, depending where you are in the world. But I thought that I could just do the same. And that was always my idea. As an entrepreneur, I need to have an idea, passion that changes the world. But things are not the same. And now when I see these kind of things, when I see these unicorn gurus barefooted giving interviews, talking about their billion-dollar ideas that they want to change the world, I cringe a little bit because I know that's not how the market works. In reality, it's a bit different. Let me give you another analogy. You know, when you have an artist and they start young, creating different style of music, talking about taboo topics and having weird instruments, and we all love him because he's so different, he or she. And eventually they change, the band change, becomes more mainstream, more commercial, and we, the original fans, look at them with the spies. We say, they sold out. That's the same exact thing that happens with entrepreneurship. In reality, you are not changing the world. At least that's not what makes companies work, what makes companies thrive. In reality, you are making money. You are serving a market that is always changing. And people might not care about things like climate change or things like charities and things that one thinks is good in general for mankind. No, they care about audio answers. They care about little tools. They care about TikToks and shorts and watching this random AI slop. And if they care about that, those are the products that you are building. And fortunately, that's the reality. And not because you are sold out or because you are mean. This just happens because if you don't do that, you don't thrive. You don't survive. There's no company for you. And that's absolutely true. So when I first started, I started with a passion, with the idea of changing the world. But then I realized that this was not what would make the company thrive. But I powered through. And when we first started Podsqueeze, granted, it came from a problem that I had. But what really made it, at least keep in the game, was not the passion, was not changing, how people interact with our tools, was changing our distribution, was finding a way to get this product to people. And then tuning the metrics. What are the most important metrics when you are building a product? Okay, I'll give you some time to think. Yeah, if you're thinking about visits to registration to activation to subscription trial, those are the metrics that really, really matter. So if you are able to create something with a decent amount of distribution, whatever channel you use, whatever, if you're doing B2B sales, cold email, SEO, YouTube, whatever, if you are able to find something that actually has distribution, you already have something. But that's not the only thing. Then you need to have these conversion metrics right, because you might have a tool that is being sold or being seen by millions of people. If they don't convert, if they don't pay for it, if they are expecting it to be free, then it might mean that you don't have a business. So you need to align these things, distribution, then tune the product for all of these little metrics and conversions. How you do that? I think I don't have enough time to cover the full thing here, at least in these episodes. That's what matters. So that was the myth number 1. Myth number 2 is that I had to be completely, and because of this, of passion about the product, I need to put all my life into it. All my life into Podsqueeze in my case. That we needed to become fucking unicorn and raise money and do all of those things. But now more than ever, that is not true. You can actually do many things, have many projects, little bets, and they complement each other. And that was the biggest the biggest change we have done in terms of mindset for our company in these past months. Now, when I look at my portfolio, I don't think only about Podsqueeze. I'm thinking about building a cluster of companies that are boosted, in our case, by distribution method, which is SEO. You can use whatever. In the past, I tried to focus on many distribution channels because there's a lot of FOMO, and you see people doing, especially these days, TikTok and YouTube, and they think, man, I should be doing the same. And there's a lot of, not trash, but people saying that they make thousands and hundreds of thousands with these techniques. Sure, that can work for you, but we decided to focus only on one, at least for now. We want to focus on SEO. So that's our main distribution channel. And then we don't see ourselves as Podsqueeze. We see ourselves as UserQuest, which is our umbrella company. Sure, you might not love the name. I don't love the name either. It was just the name that we created once we had to create our company. But yeah, we are UserQuest, and UserQuest has many little SaaS, and these SaaS are all in the content space. So we can build these SaaS. We can put them in our wheel of distribution using SEO, using our newsletter, pointing things to each other. And the goal is that we raise the whole portfolio. That's how we see ourselves now. That's how we see our company. But there is a huge problem with this. The moment you introduce another product, you introduce a lot of tasks. And the issue is that while we're doing that, we are not making more money, at least not yet. So how can we distribute? Well, I was walking and I just saw something running. I don't know what it was. Some kind of rabbit or something. Anyways, how can we distribute this and all these workloads with only 2 people? And I guess you know where I'm going. AI. Yeah. Now you can make so many things if you focus on becoming an AI first company. And this means automating all these tasks. So how do we turn a company into an AI first company? I like to put development of a product in 3 phases. Phase 1 is the phase where you get the idea. And when I say finding the idea, there's a whole method for this. I don't want to go too much into detail. If you like, I can do another episode just for this. But is basically doing a market research. You do an SEO research, you find what keywords people are searching for, and you find which ones make sense and align with your cluster, right? So we are focusing on the content creation cluster. Our tools, Podsqueeze, Flarecut, all our tools go and touch those points. So that's the kind of products we're building. So that's the first thing. And in this phase 1, we built the product, and as well, we build the SEO. Normally, what we like to do, and this is something that we are still testing, but it seems to be working, is to find exact match domains. What is this? Exact match domains are domains that have the main keyword in it. For instance, audio and answer, audioandanswer.com, which is a domain that we bought for $1,500 and is already reaching 600 euros MRR. So it's already paid for the domain, which is nice. And the cool thing about this is that when people search for audio and answer, this actually can mean, or Google doesn't know if people are searching for any audio and answer or ours, audioandanswer.com. So that's kind of the strategy we implement. It's not the only strategy, but I don't know. We're trying to see if this actually boosts a bit the distribution. So that's the first phase. We launch it. We share it in our newsletter. We try to get some links, backlinks and so on. And we wait. And it will only move to phase 2 once it reaches the 2 things that I started this episode with. Distribution, so at least 200, 300 visits per day coming from Google, coming from whatever, and then good conversion metrics. If we get to phase 2, This means that we have a product and we are in growth phase. Ideally, we have an MRR growth of 10%, 15%, whatever, the more the merrier. And here we are just exploring everything. We are focusing on the product. We are building more landing pages, more SEO, maybe doing some integration. This is the phase that requires the most effort and focus on the product. Then you get into phase 3, which is normally when your product starts getting to a plateau. Plateau is like a slow growth, 1%, 2%, 3%, or, -1, +1%. You're just kind of stabilized in a way. And this is basically what you do. You do the same of what you're doing in the phase 2, but with less effort. It doesn't require less effort. Normally the product is more mature, and it's basically where Podsqueeze is at the moment, is in this phase 3. But it's still very important. Podsqueeze is our main asset. And just because it's not growing doesn't mean that we cannot explore other keywords, new landing pages, because now Podsqueeze, it's been 3 years, we have a lot of clients and we have some nice authority on Google. So if we build a new landing page about, let's say, for instance, AI video maker, and we put it in Podsqueeze, normally it will get traffic. And if it gets traffic, we can merge this into, or kind of channel the traffic to our next tool that is still in phase 1, which is, for instance, Flarecut. So that's kind of the strategy. And you start understanding how everything compiles and how everything gets together beautifully into this cluster of companies. So that's kind of the strategy. Now, how does AI get into this? Well, every task that requires a lot of not automated, but regular work needs to be automated. First, building products. That's the easiest thing to do because these models are made to code. I don't code anymore. I just ask Cursor in our case and these models to code. So we created a template of a repo. And this template is not the standard templates that we used to, which were basically boilerplate code patterns. No, these are skills, MD files, markdown files that explain everything on how to build a product. And this means how to structure the repo, what type of codes to use, how to log, how to do SEO. Everything is there specified. And so every time I want to build a new product, it's as simple as copy pasting this repo and then turning on the microphone, explaining what I want, and it will just go through all these skills I just wrote, and it will write the full amount of code. And really, it works. It builds products really fast. We just built another one called photosharpener.com. Normally, these products are simple, right? So the only thing that it does is you upload a photo that doesn't have good quality. Then the photo turns, we enhance the photo and becomes great photo. Simple, and we build this product in literally 2 days or a day. It's really, really simple, at least like the core functionality and everything. And now this one is another product that is on phase 1. So that's the first thing. Second thing that we started doing is we start making automatic analysis. One great thing that these AI tools can do is analyzing data. Analyzing data that you would take days to analyze, and they can do it in minutes or seconds. So I connect the tools, I connect Cursor with Posttalk that tracks all the interactions, with Stripe, with anything that I think it's important to do a proper analysis. And I write a skill that runs in our case in Cursor automatically. Every week it runs Cursor, it runs this skill and tells me what's going on with the product. It tries to identify low-hanging fruits, great things where we can increase our conversions. So normally that's the structure. Going back to the conversions that I just told you, I have the conversions really there, and I told it to go analyze all the conversions, check the conversions with benchmarks, try to see which ones were below the benchmark of similar SaaS, and figure out why, and give me low-hanging fruit solutions. And then I sit down every Monday, I read the report, and I start implementing those things. And believe me, it already identified really important things. And I will tell you one thing that has changed a lot how Podsqueeze is growing. So it's really cool. And then other automations. We have one automation that goes through our backlogs or backend logs rather, and checks every day if we are having issues. Normally, the automations that run every day are the ones from companies that are in phase 2 or phase 3. Phase 1 is not worth it to have it every day. It's just, you don't know if it will take off, so don't waste your tokens there. So yeah, I keep having this. I keep analyzing this. So that's another thing to automate. And the third thing that we have automated is this huge project we started building in UserQuest, our company, which is our own AI agent. We call it Svetlana, and it lives in one of our servers and it communicates with us via Slack. And Svetlana does a lot of things. She now is managing our whole inbox. So she gets the emails, she categorizes the emails and answers the emails when she already knows what to say. She doesn't know, she asks us, and we just have to give her instructions. She learns from us, and we keep giving her more tools, post-hoc tools, Stripe tools, database tools. Of course, trying to make it somehow secure, not giving all the permissions. But this is saving us a lot of time because one key aspect of this strategy, SEO strategy, are backlinks exchange, our partnerships. And it was taking us so long to go through all the emails we get for link exchanges and analyzing their websites. Normally they are shit. Now we have Svetlana. She does that for us, and it's taking so much time out of our plate, which is amazing. And probably, if you like it, I can do another episode just about Svetlana because it's been a big project. But yeah, so that's kind of the structure, the main structure, how we are using AI to really go along with our company vision. Now, one thing that I've been promising you this whole episode is the one thing that we have done that has actually changed and started increasing the growth of Podsqueeze. And I'm quite excited about this. So I was talking with my friend Elston from Tiny Host. He's a very successful bootstrapper. You probably follow him on Twitter. If you don't, please do. He's great. Always shares a lot of tips. And he told me, he was actually here in our office. We're doing some co-working session. He told me, you know what? Something that has worked for me. I was like, what? And he told me, I have introduced free trials in our products, but not to the cheapest plan. We have done that for the mid-tier plan. So we show the pricing page. We show that they can either acquire the starter plan for the normal price, or they can start the pro tier plan, free trial for 7 days. Okay, I wonder if that works. So I implemented it. And I started seeing some people entering. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Then one of our reports coming from AI analyzed that and said, Tiago, I just identified a great low-hanging fruit here. You now, when people, you have a lot of users that run out of minutes. They are in the free tier, they run out of minutes. And now you just show a banner and tell them, go to the pricing page, figure it out. But that's a lot of work. Why don't you just immediately, the moment they have that problem, you show the trial and you tell them, hey, continue converting your episodes, just start the trial. And I said, sure, makes sense. And that actually has changed a lot. Our growth, our MRR graph actually started going up. And our growth went from -1, 0, 1 to 3%, 4%, 5%. It's still early, but is the biggest MRI change I've seen in Podsqueeze in years. So it's crazy how there are still little things that you can do that actually make a huge impact. And this made us learn as well a lot. It made us understand that you cannot have any friction in your whole flow, in the flow that you want the user to take. So if you want the user to eventually start a trial, don't take the user to some pricing page with a bunch of options. No, just give him the option, start trial right now, bam. And that has actually made a huge difference. So if you thinking about this in the way you are building your product, think about this as well. Think about, okay, what's the flow? What are the main conversions? Where are we in terms of benchmark? What metrics are we behind? And try to think maybe there's something in the flow of the user that we can do that will increase that metric. So yeah, that has changed for us, and I am quite excited about this. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to tell you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's been a while. I really missed it. I missed sharing this with you, and you can always count on a few episodes coming from my side as I give you life updates, entrepreneurship updates, and I tell you everything that is going on. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to shoot me a message at WBTiago on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on email, whatever, message me, and I will always be happy to share and try to give you some insights if I can. Of course, there's still a lot that I need to learn. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a lovely week, and see you in the next episode of the Indie Founder Podcast.